do I want to buy Giratina V-Stars for $30 a pop? Or do I just want to go buy the newest Gym Leader Challenge cards for less than $10 and just be like, nice, okay,
GLC.
cool, time to have some fun.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Shuffle Pod. I think we're on, episode 6, episode 5 now? We've been going... That's crazy. But today we actually have a very, very special guest. We have Andrew Mahone here, Tricky Jim himself on the pod. Yo, what's up, Andrew?
Hey, how you guys doing? Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks for being on today. We're definitely going to be a lot of interesting topics we're going to be talking about today on the episode. I'm sure some of the topics you'll also want to discuss because we want to talk about like single prizers and stuff, which is pretty sick. And I kind of get to know more about Andrew, you as a person, and also talk kind of about GLC and stuff, which I'm pretty excited for, and all that stuff today. But before we kind of get into everything, I guess we got to do our little weekly wrap up. So how did y'all's week go? Let's start off here with Lindsay. How was your week?
My week was actually pretty good. I had a full week of work, and it was a really, really rewarding week. I actually had a patient who I actually did her first chemo. I did her first chemo treatment, and that really is kind of like a special bond you get to have. And this past week, I did her last chemo. So that was so rewarding to see her journey through all that. I love my job, right? I also updated my tabletop setup. So I completely, threw it in the trash and started over. Have a completely new setup that I'm really proud on. I worked really hard on it all week, and I actually just finished editing the video this morning, and I couldn't be more excited for it to release. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, that's pretty much been my week. I've actually a few days off coming up next week with Labor Day, and I'm only working one day next week, so I'm kind of prepping for my relaxation. But what about you, LDF? What was your week like?
My week, well, actually, it's kind of funny since we're recording this episode kind of a little bit after we usually record it. So I've actually had a pretty crazy kind of, I guess, it's been like 2 weeks now, I think, because I've had 2 weekends to actually talk about here real quick. So since last episode, I didn't get to talk about it. So last Saturday, I ended up going to the Fan Expo eBay Pokemon tournament that I think like Zach Lesage was helping to run and stuff, which is really cool seeing eBay Canada kind of link up with Fan Expo, which is basically like just, it's Comic-Con essentially. And they had a lot of like the Stranger Things actors there, which was kind of cool. So it was like a really crazy event. Yeah, everyone was like all dressed up and everything. Everyone was cosplaying. The vibes were pretty sick. And of course, there was the Fan Expo tournament going on there, which was awesome to see eBay kind of working with Pokemon people in the Pokemon community to like run these tournaments. And I ended up getting third place at the tournament with Reggie. Reggie's like pretty sick right now. It's so good in the meta right now. Just can't really beat Duraludon, but I even think the deck can beat Flying Pikachu. And I even got like a sweet like trophy for getting third place and everything. It was pretty cool. It was a really cool experience. So hopefully eBay does more of these tournaments in the future, because it was a lot of fun. And it's really cool to see like a big company like eBay actually kind of diving into the Pokemon trading card game at like a competitive level. And then, I mean, I guess I could talk about my weekend, how it's been right now, because that was last weekend, and now we can talk about this weekend. I didn't do too much. I did go to my local league on Friday. We had like our little like fun free tournament. I ended up winning it with Reggie again, because Reggie is just a broken deck right now. I'm considering it for Baltimore. No leaks right there, but it might be the play for Baltimore for me. I'm just really enjoying Reggie. I got to open up some Lost Origins product while I was there on Friday. I'm looking to maybe build Hisuian Zoroark V-Star in real life, because I think Giratina is going to be a little too expensive. Yeah, I think Zoroark's pretty good. I got a playset of Gengars and everything. I think the deck's actually really good. I've been testing a little bit of it, IRL, like practicing, and the deck's actually been playing pretty well. Being able to one-hit KO things for just a single double turbo is kind of insane. So definitely looking forward to trying out Zoroark. And then yesterday was actually really cool. So I think it was like National Cinema Day or something. So one of my local Cineplex audience, which is basically like AMC for you guys, it was actually all the movies were like $3. The tickets were all $3 because it was National Cinema Day. And it was perfect timing because they are they're replaying Spider-Man No Way Home with like a few extra scenes in the movies. So I went to go see that last night. It was like a full packed theater. And let me just say, seeing Spider-Man again on the big screen was amazing. But actually there was a lot of audience reactions. Like, all the scenes you can think of, the scenes with, I mean, spoiler alert if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet.
Pause
just skip
here.
forward maybe like a minute if you haven't actually seen the movie. Yeah. So, I mean, people were cheering at all the scenes with Andrew and Toby in them when they first entered. Everyone was cheering at that one scene with, of course, Daredevil returning to the MCU, and everybody cheered at the scene where Andrew Garfield finally gets to save MJ. It was actually just insane to see everybody like cheering and clapping, even though everybody knows what happens in the movie and they've seen it all. Just that audience feel, just really awesome. I don't know, it's just something that I missed, because I actually feel like Spider-Man No Way Home really did a lot to like save cinema, in my opinion. But that'll be for another story for another time, I guess. But that's how my week went. It's been a pretty crazy, pretty awesome week, and all that good stuff. But of course,
isn't there
how
like
has
a
your week been, Andrew?
conspiracy that like you're Spider-Man or something, LDF? Isn't that something that isn't that a conspiracy?
Yeah, people. Yeah. Samuel Simcoe likes to call me Spider-Man.
Shout out Samuel.
But yeah, we got to know how your week went, Andrew. Yes, shout out to Samuel Simcoe, the real MVP. Yeah, Andrew, I'm curious to see how your week's been. I know you're working on like a secret project, so I know you can't leak it, but
Right. Oh yeah, I'm not in my studio. That's kind of the big thing. I'm in a new place working on a new thing for a month, and I'm really excited about it. It's something really cool and different that that's never been done. Never been done before for our game. So I'm very excited about it, and that's about all I can say. But I'm going to be in this spot where I'm at for the next month. So this last week was my first week away, and I've got my mobile streaming set up here so that I can do streams and YouTube videos and all of that while I'm continuing to work on this other project. So every day for me right now is like double time. I mean, I'm basically just working doubles every single day because I'm still trying to keep as much of my old schedule as possible, streaming and doing YouTube videos while also working on this new project. So it's a lot. But we got the first week in the books, so I have survived, and I'm really excited for the weeks ahead. Rings of Power just came out, so I'm super geeking about that. I've been loving Rings of Power, the first 2 episodes. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and also watching House of the Dragon, also great. So super into those fantasy shows coming out right now, and it's giving me some great TV to watch while I'm out here, so I'm stoked about that.
Yeah, I did watch those 2 episodes last night, actually. But Andrew, tell us a little bit about yourself outside of Pokemon.
So, sheesh. Outside of Pokemon, I mean, like, growing up, I was kind of like, I love skateboarding. I love Pokemon. I was also a competitive runner in high school and college. So my other big things outside of Pokemon cards would be skateboarding and running. I've kind of, I competed at the national level in Division III running. We actually were able to win a national title in the indoor distance medley relay, so that was really exciting. So I was like super competitive runner for like the first part of my life. Loved skateboarding too. Was like a skate rat in high school, just like filming my buddies doing skateboarding stuff and making my own videos, which was really fun because, YouTube came out in like 2005. So that's when I was like a sophomore in high school. So that was like all happening, during my adolescence. So, I had like bootlegged Adobe Premiere and Photoshop and had like, downloading music off of LimeWire to like use in my little skateboard video. It's like that whole thing, the kind of like do-it-yourself internet, kind of thing was really something that kind of became a thing during my time growing up. I mean, YouTube came out when I was in high school. So like we were all obsessed with that and just making our own stuff and putting it out there for people to see. And that was super neat. I had met like some of some early friends just on the internet posting videos of myself skateboarding on like message boards. It was super funny, and having those kinds of online interactions. So I actually didn't start playing Pokemon competitively until after college, when I was done with running, and kind of was like looking to fill that void, wanted something else to compete in. I'd always liked Pokemon cards, but, kind of looked into it and got obsessed real quick, and the rest is kind of history. I've just been like, playing Pokemon cards while doing everything else in my life for the last 10 years. And, now it's something that I use to make a living. I mean, it's my career. So super thankful for that. But outside of Pokemon, still love skateboarding. I got a mini ramp in my studio that I try to hit up as much as I can. I like working out, playing Pokemon Go, those kinds of things. And traveling now, doing a lot more of that than I ever have in my life. I mean, with Pokemon and like various projects and things like that. Traveling, I guess, is becoming like a serious part of my life. So that's been interesting as well.
Yeah, sounds interesting. I know traveling is like kind of back in the fray now with a lot of the people in the Pokemon community, because now that IRL is back, we all got to travel to all these big tournaments and everything. And it'll be very exciting to kind of see how it all goes. I know Worlds is going to be in Japan next year, which is like super exciting. That is like that's probably the best location they could have put Worlds, to be honest. Like that is like honestly like perfection. So I'm really looking forward to maybe going to Japan next year to kind of go to Worlds, even if I'm not going to like make my invite, like just going to travel there and getting to kind of see Japan and embrace their culture and everything. It's just going to be really awesome. And I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, they got locals coming back. I mean, so that's really exciting. And, next year. So they still haven't announced the championship invite structure, but
baby steps.
Definitely glad that they finally announced that we're getting those leagues and cups and challenges back. I have never even got to participate in those because when I first started playing Pokemon, those weren't around. Those didn't exist yet. So I never got to do them. So I'm really excited. That's something I get to do. If you guys want to talk about it, there's just like a little bit of a controversial spice in there. There's some people that are mad about them coming back. There's some people that are upset at that.
Really?
That's surprising.
I haven't seen this.
I mean, Twitter can be a pretty crazy place. That's what I'm saying. I think I think it's like you kind of need these because a lot of people can't afford to travel all these places for regionals. And I mean, it is part of the experience going to regionals and everything and traveling, but you definitely kind of need the locals to be back in order to kind of keep it kind of like a good balance, because not everyone can afford to, fly all over the country and even all over the world in some cases to go compete. It adds up pretty quick.
What's the argument for somebody who's upset? Like, give me the crux. What do these people say? I have not seen this, so I don't know.
It's so weird. I think like the main argument is that like they want. I mean, like, to be honest, like I don't really know, but like it's from what I've seen, it's people saying that like, oh, like if you need to go to regionals to be able to get your world invite because like the best people go to regionals and like it's they don't want somebody who could just do like super well at locals.
Yeah.
Grind cups to get that kind of gatekeeping is so cringe to me. Just like
it is. Yeah.
I think that's like super lame. Just get good and just beat them at the world championships if you're not concerned about it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a pretty lousy argument to make, because it's like, like obviously the world championships is meant for the people that like did really well over the season, and it's like the best of the best competing, but just because you win a regionals doesn't mean you're the best of the best, you know what I mean? So it's definitely better to have cups too, because it gives more people an opportunity to go to worlds, and it's better too in my opinion, especially with it being in Japan this year. There's a bigger incentive, I think, to actually want to go to worlds. So I definitely think that it's just a really bad like kind of argument to make there.
You gotta have these different kind of stepping stones in the competitive scene, because regionals cost $70 now. It's a lot to
I know, I saw a lot of discourse on that.
Yeah, it's a lot to make the trip to go to one, and it's a very high barrier to entry going to a regional for your like first experience. You want to be able to get people up to that level, and league challenges and league cups are good stepping stones to get you kind of prepared for the regional experience. Unfortunately, this kind of like pretentiousness and gatekeeping kind of mentality is not new. I mean, this exists kind of in lots of competitive games. There used to be people who would argue that if you only qualified for the first day of the World Championships, you didn't actually qualify for Worlds because you just qualified for the grinder. Like you just qualified for baby Worlds, basically. Like that kind of mentality used to be a thing. And just like, dude, nah, you can't, don't even let those kind of people, just because someone can type out a phrase or, something on Twitter doesn't mean that their opinion is worth taking seriously. So just let that stuff go with the breeze. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, everybody's always got their really interesting takes on Twitter nowadays, and I think that's definitely one of the more toxic gatekeeping takes I've ever seen, to be honest. Just like League Cup should not be a thing, or people are mad at it. It's like, come on, man, really, like it's stepping stones, like you said yourself, and not everybody, like a newer player, it's more intimidating for them to kind of get into a regionals, because regionals are, it's big. I went to my first big regionals with NEIC. Or my first like internationals or whatever, and it was like it wasn't intimidating, but it was a lot to take in. I mean, you got like 2 days of Pokemon, especially if you make day 2. You have to perform really well to make day 2. You're playing against a lot of other really good players. The more you're winning in the tournament, the higher the skill level is going to get. Like in your first couple rounds of regionals, you might be playing against people that aren't as experienced or as like they know as much about the game, and then as you start winning, you're going to start getting paired against like better and better players, and it can be a lot to take in. And I do think we kind of need these like smaller things like League Cups to kind of have that balance it out and get people kind of into that environment and kind of learn the experience more before, you know what I mean? So
you just want to encourage people to play.
Exactly.
And if if people's only experience or ability to play is at a 1,000-player regionals that cost them $70 just to enter, and then like hundreds of dollars for hotels and travel and things like that, if you're saying that someone's out the door like $800 for a regional experience and it didn't exactly go well, they're not going to be incentivized to continue playing with no other options to play. So from an organic grow the game level, the locals are really important just to support those scenes and those up and coming players that are trying to enter the scene, right? So that's all really cool. Something that I have had the thought that they should just do away with championship points altogether, and in order to qualify for Worlds, you got to top 8 a regional. Period. It's just that's the only way to get one. I've had that thought. And I don't think it'd be the worst. I mean, it certainly has its pros and cons. I don't think that, because that, in some ways, that does help alleviate the grind cost, right? If you're really good, you could just go to a regional top 8 and you're in Worlds, and you don't have to grind, right? So there's that factor. Like, I mean, I top 8'd 2 regionals last year and didn't qualify for Worlds. That kind of was like, yeah, that's kind of nuts, I guess.
That is kind of insane. Yeah. I think you
yeah, and so I don't think that the championship point structure is perfect by any means, and I don't even think that it necessarily rewards the best players. Sometimes I think it rewards the players that have the most money or can travel to the most places or go to the most internationals and things like that. But it's I think it's always something that's just worth looking at critically. Don't just accept it for what it is, because things can always improve and be tweaked. But but to be upset that locals are returning, I think is just silly.
So the Shuffle Squad and this podcast is proudly sponsored by Atlas Collectibles. So make sure when you are visiting atlascollectibles.com, you use code TSS12 to save yourself 12%. It's perfect timing. The Lost Origin just came out. You can go save yourself 12% on some of those new cards that we got to buy.
You can now email us. We will be adding a segment where you can ask the pod or give us suggestions, and you can now send the email to podcast@theshufflesquad.com.
I ordered some Japanese packs online, and I ordered 2 Japanese Lost Origin boxes just probably like a few weeks ago. Actually, it was probably like a month or over ago, and actually pulled an alternate art Giratina V.
Oh, yeah. I
No
remember
way.
seeing that on
That's
Twitter.
so sick.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous card.
It's pretty nice. That and the Aerodactyl, I'm really excited to try to pull.
I did pull the Aerodactyl alt art in Japanese.
Oh, you did?
Nice.
I wanted that one too.
I'll trade you.
Well, I don't know about you guys. It's been super rainy in Georgia like all week. And it's just, it would be nice if we could get kind of a clear, outlook, a clear view of what the meta forecast is going to be this week. What do you guys think?
I agree.
I liked that transision. That was good.
Yeah. You like that, John?
Yeah.
John's our editor.
that was sick. That was sick.
Got him.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's been excessive heat warnings every day here. So
Oh, yeah, man. Heat waves been faking me out, Yeah.
meta forecast. All right, what are we thinking for the meta forecast? Baltimore regionals. I unfortunately will not be able to go because of this project that I'm working on, but it sounds like you're going LDF.
Oh yeah, I'll be attending. Yep, I know it's going to be the kind of same old Astral format. Unfortunately, Lost Origins was not able to kind of reach that threshold of 2 weeks, so Lost Origins won't be legal at Baltimore. It's going to be the Worlds format, but I'm still looking forward to it. Again, I'm kind of eyeing up playing Reggie. I really think it's just basically you go to Baltimore. It's just your deck has to be Palkia, even though Arceus Flying Pikachu, Arceus Decidueye are really good, but that deck is more of like a situational type deck, where that deck only really can work in a meta where you just hit a bunch of Palkias, because I'm not sure Arceus Pikachu Decidueye has a good shot at beating Mew, and I don't know what else it really beats apart from just Palkia, and like maybe the mirror match is a bit winnable too, because you have the type coverage, but I think it's just basically your deck has to be Palkia, that's about it, still the best deck. I think Mew's going to resurge a bit. I know the new Meloetta-less Mew deck is kind of popping up a lot more now. And that deck is actually really interesting because it has the access to, like, extra supporters. I think it plays, like, Marnie. I know it plays, like, Avery's and stuff, which can be really annoying against me because I like playing Reggie and those Avery's can get in the way. And that deck is pretty solid. It's definitely more of a kind of, like, tactical kind of Mew deck. It doesn't kind of go all in with the catchers and the Meloettas and the Cremomatics. It kind of plays a little bit more like a normal deck where you're playing draw supporters, you're attaching energy, you're not just like winning the game in like 2 turns
More
or
like a normal
basically
Pokemon
getting the
deck.
first knockout, Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mew's definitely going to pop up, I think. I think you definitely want to... I mean, I don't know if there's any good dark Pokemon other than like maybe Crobat VMAX, and I don't know if it's even worth it to play a dark Pokemon at this point because outside of like, Mew, like dark Pokemon suck right now. Like it's just no point. I really think it's just you just add Path into your deck, Path and pray against Mew, and then hope that they don't, get a Stadium or Cram Head, and you just try to buy a couple turns. It's kind of all you can really hope for right now against Mew. I think Mew will definitely, kind of get a big power boost going into Baltimore. Reggie's looking pretty good. I think Mewtwo Control, is still a good call for Baltimore. I think Mewtwo Control is going to maybe start creeping back up kind of in the rankings a little bit. And I think Arceus Duraludon's kind of popped back up a little bit more too now. Because I think Arceus Duraludon has a pretty good matchup against that Mew deck, I think. So we'll have to see on that one.
Yeah, Lindsay, are you going to Baltimore?
I'm not going to Baltimore.
So it's all you, LDF.
Yep.
Yeah. Personally, I'm pretty checked out of this meta. I wasn't attending the World Championships. I am not going to Baltimore. I've got this project that I'm working on. So that has kind of been at the forefront of my mind. And just the new Lost Origin cards, for sure. There's the new Incandescent Arcana set that's coming out in Japan right now. I mean, it was released this past Friday. And I'm going to have some boxes of that set showing up. So for me, it's all about the future. What's coming? I'm so excited
We're
about
in the
Pokemon
future.
EX. Yes. I'm so excited about Pokemon EX returning. I'm so excited for the end of the Sword and Shield block. I'm very over it.
Oh,
so, yeah, I'm not too invested heavily into this format. My testing group all decided to play Arceus, Flying Pikachu, Decidueye, V-Star for Worlds. And that was the World's winning deck. But, things just went terribly for them. It just seemed like there was a lot of coin flip matchups or things that just didn't go quite right. One of my buddies was able to grind into day 2 with the deck. JW was. But
I remember seeing that tweet.
JW didn't end up doing too well day 2, even though it's like we had, like, our group had the right deck. But it just feels like there's so many things that are, kind of outside of your control, or you need to go just right. And this format's very cutthroat. So it's, it's just something that I've kind of checked out of mentally.
Yeah.
I do think that Palkia is still the best deck. I agree with you that if you want to do well in this format, you absolutely have to beat Palkia. And I do think that Mew is still just a very good deck, for sure. And that Mew does best when it's underestimated. So, won top 8 at the World Championships, something like that. And I think that Mew could certainly continue to be popular in the weeks ahead.
Yeah, I think Mew's going to be really good. I will have to see if that Meloetalus Mew deck is kind of the play for Baltimore. But yeah, this is kind of why I enjoy playing Reggie's right now, is because Reggie is just really, really fun to play. It's fun to play a single prize deck, and it's also fun to play a single prize deck that beats the best decks. I mean, being able to Reggie Alecki, a Palkia, or Reggie Rock and Arceus is really satisfying. Or Reggie Gigacine, a 3-prize Pokemon. And that's why I've been really enjoying the deck right now, because it's fun to play. I was kind of in that same boat. It's I could play, Arceus or Palkia or whatever, but it's the way the format is right now, a lot of the time going second puts you at a, this massive disadvantage. And, going first is just so good right now. And it's just whiffing an energy or not getting an attack for one turn. Or it's just you get punished for just things not going your way, which just feels really bad. And that's kind of why I'm just enjoying Reggie, because you don't have to worry about that with that deck. You can fall behind 2 or 3 prizes and still very easily win a game. And that's why I enjoy Reggie right now. And I'm just also kind of checked out, where it's just the same thing over and over, you know what I mean? And with the way the format is, with Palkia being able to Accelerate Energy and Radiant Greninja you out of nowhere, or Arceus getting 2 cards out of the deck, it's just they just go boss choice spells. Okay, what can I do? So
I think that the format has definitely gone on a little bit longer than it typically would, because Lost Origin was a set that was pushed back slightly. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Lost Origin's not even in stores yet. I mean, it's coming out right now. And we're already getting advertisements for the next set, which is what the heck? It's crazy.
And that gap's not even that long either. I think it's September to November? Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to get pre-releases. It's crazy. So the next couple sets are going to come just like this. And then I think we're going to be in the new Scarlet and Violet era before we know it. This is kind of a crazy place to be, because the Sword and Shield block was completely eaten up by the pandemic, basically, right?
Yeah, literally.
It feels like not that long ago, Cosmic Eclipse was out. That was the end of the Sun and Moon era, right? And I'm just Arceus, Dialga, Palkia, Tag Team Pokemon GX. It hasn't been that long. We only got 1 World Championships so far with the Sword and Shield era Pokemon, which is just craziness.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to move on, though. Honestly, of all the eras, I think the Sword and Shield era, of every single era of Pokemon cards, the Sword and Shield era is my least favorite.
I have to agree with you on that one, yeah. 100%, man. No, it's not close.
It's not close. It's my least favorite era of Pokemon. Good riddance. I'm over it.
Good riddance. That's just so crazy, because I've only played competitive Pokemon with the Inteleon engine. This is all I've known, so I'm kind of excited to get out of it.
Yeah, because I remember when Shaman and Dedenne and Crobat were a thing, and it's now the Inteleon engine's kind of the way to go, and then you got Bitbarrel, and I'm kind of glad they're kind of bringing back more traditional draw engines like Bitbarrel and stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely just over the Sword and Shield era too. It's just the 3 prizers I think were just kind of a mistake. And of course, I think V-Stars are good intentions, but I feel like they definitely made some of the V-Stars just a little too good, and it just kind of ruins the entire thing. Because I feel why play any other V-Star when you can just play Arceus or Palkia? It's what's the point? Why would I ever play
all evolve from Vs that the V-Stars knock out. They all do. Which is that to me is what? Why would you do that? So that the first player to get their V-Star to play to knock out your V is has won a third of the game.
Basically, yeah. And a lot of the time it's just at that point it's impossible to come back. So
bro.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that's what makes the early Sun and Moon era so good, and that's why there are so many players who look on that era of the game so fondly is because the GX Pokemon evolved from single prizers. So you had cards like Gardevoir GX who evolved from a Ralts, right? And you could pair that card with other single prizers. Like you could have a Gardevoir GX deck that had Gardevoir GXs and Gallade, right? And you could have your Kirlia evolve into either one. So there's so much strategy, so much cool card interactions. If your opponent knocks out your Ralts, they only win a sixth of the game, not a third. So like there's like that amount of slowing the game down and giving you the option of like when I want to put my liabilities into play, when I want to establish my board state with a two-prizer. I don't have to have a bunch of two-prizers on my board, you know, that are weak just to evolve them up into V-Stars the next turn, you know? So I really like that level of strategy that the single prizers evolving into two prizers brings to the game. And I'm going to welcome that back with open arms for sure. So very stoked about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that kind of mechanic to come back. And I mean, we'll still have three prizers and two prizers that evolve from, you know, two prizers in the format still. But once we kind of get to the point where it's just Scarlet and Violet on, we'll kind of be back to like kind of a more slow-paced, thought-out, tactical, more skillful format where it's not just relying on my deck can hit you for weakness, so I basically win, or I get the first knockout on your two prize, or I win type of thing. So definitely looking forward to kind of that coming back into the forefront of the meta. Even though the EXs, the new EXs are still, from the looks of it, they are still very, very powerful. They still look to do a lot of damage. A lot of HP. We'll see how they balance that out, if they make single prizers, if they buff them or whatever. But we'll have to see on that. But I am glad that they are kind of going back to like an early Sun and Moon era of the game. I think we definitely kind of needed that for the TCG at the moment, because people are just really tired of the 2 and 3 prize era of just like Sword and Shield, super turbo, hyper aggressive, winning the game, and half a knockout wins you the game type of thing. So for sure.
Before we dive into the single prize decks and the GLC and a little bit more of the main part of the podcast, we're going to play our Pokeword game. So this is going to be LDF and Mahone working together to guess that Pokemon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Your Pokemon has 9 letters. Ooh. I think it's pretty hard to guess just based off of 9 letters. So I'll go ahead and give you the next hint. It is Generation 5.
Okay. 9 letters, Gen 5. Okay. So what 9-letter Pokemon exists in Gen 5? I know Gen 5 pretty well. Thankfully, I do have some good knowledge on this. I've played the Black and White games tons of times. Gen 5 is one of my favorite generations, to be honest. It's also got my favorite Pokemon in it, Hydreigon. So let's see.
How many letters in Hydreigon?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, it might be Hydreigon. Now we got Hydrigon. Ooh, I think that's 9.
It's 9.
Could it be? Is it Hydreigon?
It is not.
Oh,
dang it!
Dang, close.
So I'll go ahead and give y'all the type. The type is it. It is a bug and a fire Pokemon.
Oh, it's Volcarona.
Ding, ding, ding.
Volcarona? Yeah, there we
Let's
go.
go.
Volcarona, yep.
Ain't too many firebugs out there.
No, that's true. That is a pretty unique typing.
Not too many. Not too many firebugs.
Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm. That was quick, too. We were able to kind of guess that really fast. I think all the other episodes we've just been like, it took us at least to the last hint to get it, so that was nice, just getting it like right away. So yeah, Volcarona, yeah, definitely a unique Pokemon. One of the, actually, I think it's like a really good Pokemon too in the video games, like competitively and like actually to use. Yeah, so definitely a good one.
Yeah, Volcarona's cool. It's got like some sort of like funny status, doesn't it? I feel like it's not just a regular Pokemon. Is it like almost like half mythic or something?
Yeah, it's like a pseudo legend almost.
Yeah,
pseudo
legendary almost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Yeah, it is. It's like the Metagross of Gen 5, where it's like beside there with like Salamence, Gudra, Hydreigon type of thing. Yeah.
This video is sponsored by PokeXword.com, the best place to get your fill of Pokemon-inspired puzzles. New puzzles are posted every Sunday, and it's a great way to disconnect and have some fun. Not only that, but they also host monthly giveaways on their channel. I personally complete these puzzles every week and can honestly say that they're pretty challenging. They've recently added a puzzle with flavor text only, which is a ton of fun. Be sure to follow PokeXWord on Twitter to get notified when new puzzles are posted and when their giveaways are live.
Speaking of single prize Pokemon, honestly, you know, one thing I will give the Sword and Shield block is that single prizers have been better than they were in the Sun and Moon era, especially the later half, I mean. Like the later half of the Sun and Moon era when tag teams were all the rage. The only single prize deck I think that really existed that was even worth playing was Blacephalon. And that was just you had to one-hit KO your opponent in order for that deck to be good. But Sword and Shield,
I did like Blacephalon, though.
Yeah, that was a very good deck, And that is one thing I will give the Sword and Shield block, is single prizers have been more relevant now than they have been in the last, like, 3 years, you know? The 3-4 years of
Arceus,
TCG.
Dialga, and Palkia GX definitely just, like, ended all hopes of single prize Pokemon, because there were some really cool single prize Pokemon in the Sun and Moon era and the late X and Y era. You know, Zoroark from Breakthrough, and there was a lot of really cool stuff going on. And the Zapdos Jirachi deck, I love that deck.
That was a fun one. Yep.
The little Buzzwole, Zapbeast. There's a lot of
Trash
really cool stuff
Landscar
going
Boulder.
on.
Yep,
but then Arceus Dialga. Okay, so the tag team era killed the single prizers. So I don't like to say that the whole Sun and Moon era was bad for single prizers, because it wasn't.
No,
but
it was just that
the later Sun and Moon era definitely killed it. Yeah,
I think it was like I think it was either Unified Minds or Unbroken Bonds is when like single prizers started to like fall off really fast. Like honestly, like when Team Up came out, Pikarom was like really good, Celosaur was good, but those decks were bodied by like Zapbeast and stuff, and single prizers were still good with Pikarom, but kind of once things like Reshiram and Charizard GX came out with like Welder, and then like all these like big thing like Mewtwo, Mewtag team, of course ADP being the big one, Luke Metal, even like all these big tag team Pokemon, and like especially ADP when it made it so you just take 2 prizes for killing a single prizer. It was just terrible. And I think the format was also starting to get really, really, really fast with cards like Welder and Dedenne coming out. Dedenne, and then Crobat came out alongside Dedenne. So you could draw like 13 cards basically right there. And it's like, it was crazy. So single prizers really fell off hard. But again, I think the Sword and Shield era really kind of saw a resurgence of single prizers. I mean, the Inteleon engine alone kind of reinforced that, where now the Inteleon engine, a single prize mechanic, a stage 2 Pokemon, is now like the new draw engine. That was something we hadn't seen before, and that I think kind of did help revive single prizers a little bit. I still think stuff like Mew VMAX, and of course the big one was not having bench barrier in the format at first in the Sword and Shield era, really hurt, because everyone played Urshifu. Jolteon VMAX was another good deck, and the single prizers just didn't have a chance against Urshifu and Jolteon. So, like, we needed Manaphy to come back. And Brilliant Stars did revive him. I mean, there was a few cool single prize decks. I know the Roscothan Dark Box deck kind of blew up kind of when Mew got really popular. So that was cool to see. But I think really Brilliant Stars is where, like, the single prizers started to really come back. So, like, this year specifically, 2022, is I think when really the single prizers started to come back in the format and actually started to, like, compete with some of these top level decks. Of course, we had Malamar, we have Reggie, which I think is the best single prize deck to play. We have the Radiant Charizard deck, which I think is going to get even better with Lost Origins.
Lunatone.
There's all these other
rocks.
Luna,
The
rocks. The elephant in the room, I forgot.
Don't leave out the rocks.
Yes.
I completely forgot about the rocks. Yeah, even
How could
Lunatone
you
Solrock,
forget?
another big one.
The Zoroark box. There's, I mean, like, Mad Party still never really even got its like shine, and like I'm kind of upset about that. Like it's so I'm wondering how Lost Zone or like the Lost Origin is also
Slowbro.
kind of impact.
Right,
The Slowbro?
Slowbro, the new Slowbro.
Yes,
Cleaver.
and Radiant Charizard are
Radiant
2 really
Charizards.
big cards for single prizers.
There's even the Radiant Greninja deck with the Frostmoth and the Inteleon engine.
Yeah, Frostmoth box, right?
Yep.
That's another one. And there were like some other fun decks too. I know like a few like interesting rogue decks. There was the Obstagoon deck, the Obstagoon one. When that deck was like good at first because like cards like Chance Care didn't exist, so it didn't like have like that really bad auto loss. Mew VMAX was really popular, and the Obstagoon deck at first was good. And like I know like Boltund, I think kind of caught a little bit of popularity too. Like there were these like fun little single price decks that you could play, and honestly they weren't even like terrible. They weren't like, it wasn't like in the ADP meta where like you play a single prize deck and it's just like there's no chance against most of these top decks. And even going to the VMAX era with like all these like Urshifu and Jolteon and like Eternatus, like these big bulky Pokemon that could like wipe your board off with rapid flow. Like some of these single prizers were still pretty okay. Like Obstagoon and Boltund were kind of like the two Fusion Strike decks I can think of that were like kind of the fun little single prize decks, the Fusion Strike era. Brilliant Stars added a lot of really cool single prize Pokemon. I know the Lucario was a really fun one. The baby Lucario deck. That I think you did a video on that actually recently, Andrew, which was a really cool video. And I think Lucario is a pretty fun card to play. I tried it out at first when Brilliant Stars came out, and I loved it because it's very good on a Stage 1 Pokemon, being able to self-accelerate energy, hit the pretty good weakness against Arceus. It could one-shot things, didn't have a damage cap. I played it with like Galarian Moltres, which was a really fun counter box type deck where you had like the Moltres for the Mew and then the Lucario for the Arceus, and then you just also had like really strong single prizers that could deal with anything else that wasn't Arceus or Mew. And I think single prizers really have been coming back in a big way. And of course, Astral Radiance gave us Reggie, which is my favorite deck to play right now because it is a single prize deck. It's also, in my opinion, one of the best decks in the format right now.
Yeah, Reggie's cool. I had a point in this past year where I wanted to love Reggie. That was like, I really wanted Reggie to be my favorite deck, and I was investing into it, but my goodness, sometimes, you got like the 4 Ordinary Rod in there, and sometimes they're just all in your hand.
Yep.
It's like weird stuff just happens with that deck that I just... Oh, God. The most stressful things happen with that pile sometimes, but it is true, incredibly satisfying when you get it firing off just right, which are that's the same exact feelings I had about Malamar, because I think that looking back at the 2022 season, Rapid Strike Malamar coming out in late 2021 was like the single prize deck, right? It was kind of like this era's Baby Blacephalon deck, where
it was very
all
similar.
it really does is just gets a big hand and blows things up. So that's kind of the idea. And it was a very strong deck, but also was a little inconsistent. And if one thing went wrong, you're off the rails. That's kind of how I feel about the Reggies right now. I feel like if your hand clunks up a little bit weird, it's just like, dang, I whiffed it. Like, you need to keep hitting like the cards you need turn after turn. When that happens, you win the game. But like if there's weird Avery plays or something like that, or your Ordinary Rod's clunked up, and then just like, and you miss a beat, then it could be disastrous. So I like the Reggie deck. The Reggie deck is a deck that is just completely unique all by itself, though, because you cannot play any other Pokemon with the Reggie deck, right? So it's just like the Reggie deck is the Reggie deck. It's one of those things that was like they just printed the Reggie deck. Yeah. Which I have, my feelings about. Like, why do you just keep printing decks? But it's fine. All right, you printed the Reggie deck. It kind of just, there it is. Yeah. And now there's more unique decks that are coming out, though. Like your kind of Radiant Charizard and Tellian box decks. Those are all kind of like very funky and unique and all over the place, and I really like that. So what I'm hoping for in the formats to come is that single prize decks become more interesting. I think will be my hope. Not that they're just this kind of like pre-canned thing. Though this is something that's gone back. I mean, Night March was like a pre-canned deck that was just like, here's your Night March deck.
Yeah. That was pretty dominant for a while. Yep.
Yeah. I just hope that these decks become more interesting and have some, interesting strategies, and then like fit well with the new EX Pokemon. I hope that they jive well together.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see that too. And I know Lost Origins has given us more really cool single price decks. I think the new Cramorant coming out is really fascinating. That card can attack for like 0 energy. If you have 4 cards in the Lost Zone, you just like go Comfy a couple times and you're already there. And that deck, I think, is really good, actually, with the new Sableye, which is like Blacephalon Fireworks Bomb. I think it's like you have to have 10. Yeah, the new Sableye, it's very, very good. I think it's, 10, 12 cards in the Lost Zone?
10 in the Lost Zone and 12 damage counters.
Yep. Yeah, and that's another really cool single prize card. And the new
What's that?
That Sableye. That Sableye is going to be good. I don't think people realize how good that card's going to be. Isn't it? It's just one energy, isn't it? Is it just one psychic energy? You can just place 12 damage counters.
Energy, right.
Hello?
And another single prize deck coming out, though, that I'm excited for is Hisuian Arcanine. It's based like Gramble. Attacks for 0 energy. I think it is like 190, 160 if you have no cards in your hand. Pretty easy to accomplish in this format with cards like Ultra Ball and Quick Ball and Berserker. That deck's going to be a lot of fun. You're also a fighting type, so you have a pretty okay matchup versus Arceus, I want to say. And that one's fun to play, and I know there's... it's not even a deck itself. I think one of the new cards coming out actually does enable more fun decks that can work in the single prize era, and that is Mirage Gate. I think Mirage Gate is going to really tear a hole in the meta, because I think people are really underestimating that card's potential to change the standard format and how people build decks and what cards can actually be popular. Because Mirage Gate is very, very powerful. It's like Beast Ring, where if you have 7 or more cards in your Lost Zone, you can search your deck for up to 2 different energy types and attach them to one of your Pokemon, I think. And that is very, very good. Of course, everyone's going to jump to the gun and say, oh, that's going to be good with Giratina, or it's going to be good with Goodra. But I think it's good with a lot of Pokemon. And actually, one of the cool ones is actually Amazing Rare Reshiram. That deck's been getting a lot of buzz right now. And Mirage Gate Reshiram is looking very good. That's another single prize deck.
I think that you're absolutely right on the money. I think that the Lost Zone engine is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be a very popular way to build decks. It's going to untap the potential of cards that didn't really have high potential before, like Amazing Reshiram, like you're saying. I think that the Comfy engine with Colress's Experiment can allow you to get 7 cards into the Lost Zone very consistently by turn 2. It's just that easy. It's going to be... I think that Comfy is the new Team Up Jirachi engine.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how powerful I think it is. It's not the same. Team Up Jirachi was a different card, but you're going to see 4 Comfies getting scoop up netted and just 7 cards into the Lost Zones so that I can Mirage Gate. You're going to see that kind of stuff in a lot of different kinds of builds, I think. Because the Comfy is a single prize Pokemon that isn't going to have its ability shut off by Path to the Peak or anything like that. So you've got this low liability engine that's very consistent, because of course you would rather start a Comfy than your 2 prize Pokemon, right? Which is just a big liability. You don't want that to take any, serious damage turn 2. So having the Comfies in the active is great. And then being able to charge up Pokemon like your Amazing Reshiram, and then you could even put the Radiant Charizard in there, and you just got this insane single prize deck that could do 200, and Reshiram does 270, Choice Belt it's 300 really damage. There you go. It's doing exactly what it needs to do. So I think that that's going to be a serious threat, and maybe the Lost Zone engine starts to rewrite what is possible for single prizers in the game.
So I have a question for you guys then. So maybe specifically more LDF, being the Reggie lover that you are, but how do you think that deck is going to change with some of the Lost Origin stuff, especially Lost City? When you knock out a Pokemon, that Pokemon goes to the Lost Zone. Yeah. You're going to have to run a little bit more than 2 of each Reggie.
I honestly don't think Reggie gets hit that hard with the new set. I've actually... over on Friday, a few of my friends have gone to my league actually brought pre-built Lost Origins decks, and let me break this down. So the first game I played against, my friend was playing the Giratina Comfy deck. By the way, every game I was playing against my friend using Giratina Comfy, every game he had a turn 2 Giratina. It was insane. Oh yeah. Yeah, that deck's just broken. And the first time I tried against that deck, I played Arceus Gyarados Jolteon, right? Played your standard Arceus deck. You got the big VMAX that you build up, the big VMAX Gyarados, you got the Jolteon. And I was like, okay, let's just play a nice traditional Arceus deck, see how we do against the Giratina. Bodied. Just absolutely bodied.
Sure. No chance. Yeah.
Yep. You just KO'd my Arceus turn 1 or turn 2. A V-starred my Gyarados off the board, and I'm just like, okay, GG's.
Yeah, just your Pokemon's
but then,
knocked out.
I played Reggie against him, and I destroyed him. Yeah,
I think that Giratina V-Star is really bad against single prizers, and you're really going to have to kind of dilute the deck if you want to get your Giratina V-Star deck to be able to beat a single prize deck. You're going to have to put Pokemon like Cramorant and Pokemon like Sableye, like many of them, not just like one won't do it.
Yeah, you need a lot of them. Yeah, I agree.
So it's just not worth it. At what point, it's like, what do you try? Why don't you just play a single prize Pokemon like Amazing Reshiram or Charizard that just can one-hit KO a V-Star, just like Giratina can, and doesn't give up 2 prizes in return? So.
Yeah. Yeah, but to answer your question too, Lindsay, I think the thing is with the Reggie deck is like you have a really good time against Giratina. I don't know if Reggie is going to be able to beat something like Guja or even Zoroark V-Star if they play like the Dunsparce. You don't have the 1-hit KO on them, which can be a little challenging. But I do think Reggie gets a lot better with this new set. It gets the new treasure or gift energy. I forget what it's called. I think it's gift energy. The lucky egg energy. I think that's a huge buff for Reggie. Yeah, gift energy. That really fixes Reggie's inconsistencies. Yeah, it fixes his inconsistencies a lot. You don't have to rely on the Drago or having a support in your hand, especially with the Pokestop engine now. You know, a lot of the time when I Pokestop, I get rid of a supporter, and I'm like, oh, there's one less supporter I have to work with. And I think gift energy is huge. And I also think Thornton's going to be an interesting card to experiment with in the Reggie deck. Being able to Thornton a Reggie that you Gigas to into, like, I don't know, Charizard, or Amazing Rare Reshiram, Amazing Rare Yveltal, and just out of nowhere having this, like, crazy knockout with, like, Thornton combo. I think that's another thing that Reggie might start to get, used to, and I think the deck's going to get a lot better. I don't know if Lost City's like even going to be that popular compared to, like, Path or Training Court. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that Lost City is an okay card in Standard. I think it's fine. The most impactful situations for Lost City in Standard are to get rid of like a Radiant Charizard. That's kind of it. So against some single prize decks, being able to get rid of, one of their major players like that who they're trying to recycle, like, it might affect that. But I think that Lost City is going to have the biggest impact on Gym Leader Challenge, because
I was thinking that,
in Gym Leader Challenge, every card is singleton, so Lost Zoning a Pokemon that is essential to a deck strategy is going to be a very big deal. So I think that the card will be more impactful in Gym Leader Challenge, not bad in Standard, and will have situational uses. But for the most part, in Standard format, you knock out 3 Pokemon V and you win. So who the heck cares if they get put to the Lost Zone or the discard pile? It's the same difference because you already play 3. So it just doesn't, it literally doesn't matter. Like, I'm not getting it back anyway. I wasn't going to, ordinary rod that flying Pikachu back into my deck. Like, it didn't matter. So, yes, I think it'll have a bigger impact in single prize formats like Gym Leader Challenge.
And speaking of Gym Leader Challenge, Andrew, do you kind of want to give us like a quick, brief kind of overview of like what got you to create the format? Because I remember last year, I know you created it. I know it was like during the tag team era with ADP, and I know that was probably a big factor in why you kind of created Gym Leader Challenge. And kind of give us like a brief overview of like why you made it, and like it's been interesting also is how successful it's been. But let's hear it.
Yeah. So it was July of 2021, and it was peak Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia format, turn 1 Mawile GX, rip your, Pokemon out of your hand, and then, whatever, turn 2, knock out your guy, take 2 prizes. Yeah, so, like, I was kind of checked out of Standard at that point because I just wasn't super invested. There was no regional championships on the horizon because we were in the middle of the pandemic, and I was not enjoying expanded format because I felt like expanded format has kind of just been neglected by the Pokemon Company, which is fine. I just don't think that expanded makes a lot of sense with the way the current card design is, because all of the old item and trainer cards are the most powerful item and trainers that have ever existed. We're never getting another Floatstone. We're never going to get another Battle Compressor. We probably aren't getting another Trainer's Mail, and who knows about Versus Seeker. I mean, all of the best trainer cards are old. Many of them, I should say. And they're like Muscle Band.
Like those, like really
Fighting
powerful
Fury
ones.
Belt.
Max Elixir, these
Max
really
Elixir.
powerful cards.
Yes. So you have all the most broken old item cards, but none of the old Pokemon can survive with the new Pokemon. All of your old generation Pokemon EX from the Black and White era, not a single one of those is playable pretty much. Yeah, for the most part, unless it puts some effect on the board, like, like a Manaphy giving you free retreat or something like that.
Right.
Or is that even a GX? I can't remember.
I think that is a GX. Yeah, it's an EX. Yeah.
It's an EX. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and then the only GXs that are really playable are going to be your Dedenne GX and your Tag Team Pokemon GX. So it's like, so the format expanded is basically like, all right, your newer Pokemon from the tag teams on, and then your oldest items, and then you just have like the Wild West, and it's very hyper aggressive and just kind of gnarly, and that's not really interesting to me either. And also, Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia is even stronger in expanded format than it was in standard. So like, I'm cool actually. It's got double dragon energy, so like I'm cool on it. Yeah, for sure. So I was looking for a way to play that was fun. And one of my favorite ways to play cards is cube drafting. I love drafting, making decks on the fly. I feel like that's very fun. But what makes cubing fun is that you're building a deck with a limited selection of cards. So you have to make use of the tools and the cards and the resources that you have available to you. So I like the idea of a limited format, and I was thinking about the power creep in the Pokemon trading card game and how nutty everything had gotten in the last handful of years. And it was basically like, all right, what would we have to do? How many limitations would you have to put on, on building a deck in order to have a fun experience, similar to a drafting experience or something like that? Because I believe that the core mechanics of the Pokemon trading card game are very strong, and that the game is a good, well-founded game with good gameplay. So I really like it, but I think that sometimes the thing that's holding it back is the card design, or like the gimmicks that have been coming up in the modern era. So it's like, okay, what if you stripped away all those cards, the gimmick cards that are like meant to sell booster boxes, the Vs, the V Maxes, the V Stars, the Tag Team GXs, strip all those away, right? And we just have single prize Pokemon, because when I'm building a cube or doing cubes in limited formats, usually it's single prize Pokemon, because you want to have the most strategic game possible, which means that we are going to be, taking one prize at a time, really mapping our game out, make sure it's a super close game. That's going to make it so that people have the most fun, because you're thinking about a format, when you're creating a format, I want people to have fun, and that means you're going to have fun whether you win or lose. So you want to be able to have a close game, win or lose, where even the player that loses feels like they had a rewarding experience. So I decided that I wanted to try a single prize format, but then I also wanted to be able to use cards all the way through the Black and White era. So go all the way back to have like a big, rich card pool. And I thought that putting another couple of restrictions on the format would be fun. So I just literally on a whim was like, well, what if we made it like Magic's Commander format? So it's going to be singleton, only one of each card, And then, even then, like, you would just, if you just did singleton and you just did, you just did no rule box Pokemon, every deck would still have like Inteleon, or every deck would still have like, Octillery. Just every deck would play these same cards. And you wouldn't actually get a lot of diversity. So in order to like force the diversity of the card pool and the cards that get used, then it was like, all right, let's also try monotype. And just like, let's just see how balanced and fun the format is. And it just ended up being a blast. It was what it was. It was just like on a whim. Let's just try out this rule set. It was like it just dawned on me one day. It was inspired loosely by Magic's Commander format. It was inspired loosely by cube drafting and other fun formats that I'd played. And, myself and my community just fell in love with it. And it's just what we started doing for fun when we were bored with Standard. So that's just what it started out as. And now it's grown into, quite its own beast. So it's been really cool to see.
Yeah, it's now an official, like, Pokemon thing. Like, it's right.
Yeah,
like
I've literally built my first GLC deck IRL because I gotta bring it to Baltimore, and I really enjoy experimenting with a lot of these GLC cards, and I'm really excited to kind of try them out. And this kind of goes to my point is like, I'm somebody who likes to play all types of different decks. Even if I know the card is bad or not good, I'll still try it out, have some fun. And GLC, I think, really kind of rewards that mindset more than standard, because I've tried a lot of different GLC combos. I know there's that amazing rare Kyogre deck that's like arguably the best deck now in GLC, and before that deck really took off, I remember building that too, and I'm like, this amazing rare Kyogre, what if we centralize a deck around Kyogre? We got Milotic, you have
Right.
Frostmoth, Blastoise, like there's no way it can be bad, right? And then of course, I've tried out other experimental cards in GLC. I've tried out Garbodor, Garbotoxin. What if we just made like a super aggressive psychic deck with just like a Garbodor in it and just shut off all the abilities, played like N and Ace Trainer?
It's
slow
super
them
good.
down.
I love Garbodor. Even as like a 1/1, it works. I mean, you can get it out very consistently, and it feels like the format's really been evolving and growing and rewarding that sense of discovery, which has been the most exciting part for me, is that players are just having fun playing the card game and having fun piloting their decks. And I think that's the novel thing about a singleton deck, is that it is just very fun to play. And because there's so many unique cards in it, each time you play the deck, you're going to have a different experience. And that makes you want to keep coming back for more, to try it again, change a few cards, try it again, because it is such a unique experience playing a Gym Leader Challenge deck. So I think that that's something that players have really been enjoying about the format. And also that it's just, in a funny way, more accessible than standard. It's like... In one way, it's tough because there's this huge card pool of cards. We try to make that as not intimidating as possible. There's some getting started guides on gymleaderchallenge.com. You can read up on all the, kind of the top cards of each type or whatever. But like, my suggestion for anybody trying it would be to just like go on pkmncards.com and just build your own deck. Just have fun, just like get your favorite type together and pick all your favorite Pokemon of that type and have your friends do the same thing and just start playing. And just don't read anything. Don't look at any tournament results. Don't do any of that. Just you and your friends just start playing from the ground up, and I promise you'll have fun. And so like that is the selling point of the format in my mind.
Yeah, as somebody who, my job is to, make new decks all the time, right? I'm doing daily videos, playing all types of different cards all the time. I'm constantly sitting on PDCGO, making decks, coming up with ideas, going through the card pool and standard, and, like, what can I do a video on this time? Will this card work with this? But I will say building decks for GLC is actually a lot of fun to play, because I've tried, like, different strategies before. Like I said earlier, I've even tried to make Maxie's Hidden Baltric Archeops a thing in GLC. Like, I have tried all these different GLC, like all these old cards that probably suck in expanded or in standard, but what if I build a deck around it in GLC and try to make it work? And it's actually a lot of fun to play, especially with that super large card pool and having, only play one of each card in your deck. It's actually really fun to it's like a puzzle almost, trying to build a deck around a strategy. Like, okay, what cards can I play? If I only play one of this card, how consistently will I find it? Should I play another card to help find it? Like, should I play like Stadium Nav if I'm playing like a heavy, if I need to find this one stadium to help me out, or should I play this or that? Like, I just think it's really rewarding and fun to build a deck in GLC. Again, it's like building a puzzle almost, because you're going through this large pool of cards and you're kind of seeing what works and what doesn't work, compared to, building a deck for standard where it's like super easy. It's like a 4 money for research, 2 boss, maybe a Bruno or whatever, or like an Avery, and then 2 air balloon, 2 choice belt, easy peasy. There's your deck right there, right? So.
And you can hop on a limit list. You can take the most recent tournament winning list. You build it, and then in a couple of months, it might just not be meta relevant anymore. So you just are out, a couple $100 or whatever it costs to build the deck. And how much has that happened over the course of the last couple of years? I mean, just think about the Sword and Shield block, right? It was, man, Zacian was so good when it first came out. Obviously one of the best basic Pokemon, a Sword and Shield, set 1. Then we go to Rebel Clash. Oh, it's all about Dragapult VMAX. Dragapult VMAX is nuts, like literally an invincible deck. And then the very next set, Eternatus VMAX.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my
you are
gosh.
so stupid if you bought those Dragapults, because now they're never going to be good again.
Yeah.
And then Urshifu VMAX. Oh, you're so stupid if you bought those Eternatus VMAX because they literally are unplayable now.
Yep.
And then
That is
Urshifu
so
came
true.
out.
Oh my god.
Shadow Rider.
And then Mew VMAX. Oh, you're so dumb if you've got those Urshifus because you cannot beat Mew VMAX, dude. No shot. And then Arceus and Palkia. It's like they just, every single set is like the next big card, the next big card, the next big card. Imagine being a casual player and trying to be invested in this standard format. It's just going to be heartbreaking. Where, as with Gym Leader Challenge, when a new card comes out, when new cards come out, when new sets drop, if there's some new good cards for your Gym Leader Challenge deck, that's like 2 or 3 good cards out of like a 60 card singleton deck. So your deck is changing more slowly, which is perfect for a casual format. You can build a Gym Leader Challenge deck today, put it on your shelf, bring it back in 6 to 12 months, and you will still be able to have fun playing that Gym Leader Challenge deck against other Gym Leader Challenge decks. I can almost guarantee it. And you can update your deck for dollars, not very bad. So say there's you've got a super gnarly fire deck that you love. You've already got your Pokemon Go Charizard. You've already got your Delphox or your Magcargo, which just none of those cards cost you very much. But then you put it on the shelf and you come back in 8 months and there's 2 good new fire Pokemon that came out. You're like, cool. All right, I'll add those to my fire deck. And then you're good to go. And you're right back in the mix and you're right back ready to have fun. And because of the singleton nature of Gym Leader Challenge, it's the decks don't get boring to play because they are so different every time you play them. It feels like more of an eternal format. And the cards that have withstood the test of time kind of prove themselves. You've got your Abyssal Hand Octillery. That card's been out forever. It's just going to be good, man. So if you got an Abyssal Hand Octillery in your deck, that's just going to be good for a long time. And there's a lot of cards like that in Gym Leader Challenge that just aren't going to get replaced right away or anytime soon. And that is exactly the kind of format that a casual Pokemon fan needed, because standard will burn you and will make you, as a casual fan, will probably make you want to quit with how fast the cards turn over with their relevance.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I think a good example of this is even with Lost Origins. Even with Lost Origins, we got the new Machamp coming out. That's a huge upgrade for fighting. Fighting's kind of always been one of the lesser used types in GLC, but now that with this new Machamp coming out, fighting could actually be legit now because Machamp is kind of insane in GLC. It's got 300 HP if your opponent has taken 3 or more prizes. It's pretty good. So definitely I agree with you on that one. Yeah. Types can get better over time, and it's not expensive because a new set, it's easy to access Machamp. It's probably going to be less than $1, so I definitely.
And ultimately, it's a casual format. It's meant for having fun. If I'm hanging out with a few buddies and having some drinks, we're not playing standard. We're going to play Cube or Gym Leader Challenge because we're just trying to have fun. So if you're just trying to have fun, then play a best of 3 that could take, we'll have some serious ups and downs and could take a couple of hours, and there's some real comeback potential. Gym Leader Challenge is going to be that experience. And if there's certain cards that you don't like, so say the Amazing Kyogre deck is so annoying, then just don't play it. You and your buddies just don't build that deck and don't play against it. It just is what it is. That deck's kind of cheesy, so let's just not have it. I think that for Gym Leader Challenge, they just published Gym Leader Challenge in the official alternate format handbook, which was super sick. So that's an official promotion from the Pokemon Company. They had it at every regional championships as side events, the national championships as side events, and the world championships as side events, where they had over 100 players signed up at Worlds, which is mind-blowing.
That's insane,
so people from all over the world appreciating the formats and just getting into it. You have some real top-level players playing the format, like Grant Marinley and Pedro and the Schultz brothers, some really people who are into it and just having fun and having a good time. So that's been really exciting to watch as well. And it's like when you get those players, you know, kind of co-signing on it and being like, yeah, this is a fun way to play for sure.
Yeah.
That really means a lot. So, like, what's the goal? What's the dream of the format? Where do we want it to go? For me, I don't think that this format ever needs to be a regional format. That's just let Standard be that.
I actually saw a take on that on Twitter yesterday about that.
Yeah. Just let Standard be the regional format. But I do think that it would be really cool for there to be, like, you know, promote Gym Leader Challenge as a league format. I think that that's like a really cool thing to do, as it's great for new players.
Yeah.
And I also think that Pokemon should host a Gym Leader Challenge special event once a year. I think that just like huge special event
That'd be cute.
where they
I think
promote.
that'd be really cute.
That'd be a good idea. Oh, yeah.
They stream it. They promote the format. So that just helps create awareness and also just promote the idea of it. And then have some sort of special prize or whatever for like the winner of the special event. But let that just be like a celebration of the format that they promote once a year. It helps to grow the format. It gives players who really like this format something to look forward to every year. But then it doesn't have to turn into the sweaty grind fest that is Standard, because I just don't want those things to. I don't want it to be that, right? Kind of like Magic's Commander format. You know, I mean, you want it to be the casual, you know, league night format that players. That's the most popular format. I mean, Commander is Magic's most popular format, and it's a fan made format.
Yeah.
So the sky is literally the limit for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of see what they do with GLC in the future. And with the kind of side events being a thing now for GLC, Pokemon are literally acknowledging it and having it in actual tournaments, and people can compete and build decks for them. And it's really going to be exciting to see where GLC goes in the future, because it is a very fun format to play. And it's very different and satisfying to play something like that over, you know, Standard, where the game can be over in like 2 or 3 turns. And it's just like, you know, because I know a lot of people in my league who don't really like the game that much. They play it anyways because, you know, they want to, you know, compete and stuff. But they say the Standard format is terrible. And then, you know, after, you know, league night, they'll chill at league afterwards and just play like GLC for a little bit to kind of, you know, have that different experience.
I can see LDF in the corner, like looking through his GLC deck, just like, yeah, you guys want to have some fun? I know how you can have some fun.
Yeah.
Whipping out GLC.
Yep.
There's been so many people who have told me that they have like Gym Leader Challenge as it's their league night format. That's just what it is now. Yeah. There's been Gym Leader Challenge leagues popping up all over the place. There's been a lot of people who've told me, like, I actually just don't play Standard anymore. I literally just play Gym Leader Challenge. There's like a lot of Gym Leader Challenge exclusive players that I'm meeting now. And yeah, I see it because like, if, you know, left to my own device, if I wasn't competing for Worlds or whatever, yeah, that'd be me. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying if the new, like, to be honest, if a new set's coming out and you're a casual fan who's not competing for Worlds, do I want to buy Giratina V-Stars for $30 a pop? Or do I just want to go buy the newest Gym Leader Challenge cards for less than $10 and just be like, nice, okay, cool, time to have some fun.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the thing. Like,
it's like, I'm not going to Worlds. You know? What do I need $200 worth of Giratinas for?
Yeah, no, that's one thing with the V-Stars is, like, they're expensive, right? You get the Vs and the V-Stars. At least with EXs coming back, you just need the EXs now, which is like kind of another reason why it's healthy.
A lot of them. You need 3 or 4. Like,
you need like a play set, and that's expensive.
You need 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, and that's super expensive. And kind of intimidating for newer players, because a card, 100%. If it is good, it's going to be expensive. Like, Arceus is like $40 right now. Like, something like that. Palkia is like a $40 card. You need like 3.
Yep.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Arceus and Palkias are like through the roof right now.
Yeah. And
don't even get me started on the PTC Geo trade market.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole different monster.
What's even like funnier about the whole like stonks part of it, and like how the cards having the different values, is like we were saying with the new sets coming out. When Celebrations came out, we were all like, Flying Pikachu, VMAX, and then now it's like everyone's like digging through their bulk, like, oh my god, did I throw away those Pikachus? Like, I hope I didn't throw them away, because we all just like thought that card was garbage. Like, we all were just like, well, that's going like in the bulk binder, like for sale, and it just won in internationals and worlds. So
clearly, it's good. It's the best. It's the best Palkia counter right now. It's the best laning Pokemon you can play to beat Palkia and have a good time against other meta decks.
Single prize decks. Yeah, blocking the basic Pokemon is just like this crazy added bonus that just makes the card worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of insane when you really think about it, and I think that's a big reason too. With like EX's comeback, and the thing too with GLC, where it's just like these cards are going to be cheaper. You're never gonna have to pay more than like. I don't even know if you have to spend $100 to build a GLC deck. To be honest, it's probably less. Like there's a few cards I know, like Rose Raid, I think kind of like shot up in price. Yeah, except for grass.
Well, grass is the most popular type. Yeah,
yeah.
But it's which is cool, because grass never gets a dub in standard. Okay,
No, yeah,
so
grass
like
is
that.
terrible.
Yeah, so like I actually am super psyched that grass is a very good type in Gym Leader Challenge because grass has consistently been.
It's always been
getting the
bad.
short end of the stick in standard for a long time.
Very long
Since
time.
like Virizion Genesect, that's the last great grass deck.
Yeah.
So I'd say most Gym Leader Challenge decks cost less than an Elite Trainer box, which is crazy when you think about it, because people just be buying Elite Trainer boxes and you get like 8 to 10 packs. And
People
that's
just be grabbing them on their Target trip, right? Like people just snagging them, throwing them in there.
That's
Like,
what
like
I'm
oh,
saying.
I could spend $30 on one of these.
For the cost of an Elite Trainer box, you can build most Gym Leader Challenge decks. And of course, there are options to like upgrade your deck further. You don't absolutely have to copy the lists you see off of Limitless if you don't. But like, of course, if you want to play the Rosa Raid from Dragons Exalted,
yeah,
okay, that was printed almost a decade ago, then there's not a lot of that card out there. So but that's part of the. I find that part of the fun and the charm of it, that you're kind of like some of the cards you're hunting for, and it's really rewarding when you find them. So my hope is that with the official acknowledgement of Gym Leader Challenge and it taking off as this kind of grassroots phenomenon, that the Pokemon Company actually starts to support the format with products that they release and reprinting some old cards as a nod to the format. That comes with I understand the difficulty in doing so. Think about the fact that the Pokemon Company International never reprinted expanded cards. They didn't reprint the Ace
No, they didn't.
throughout the entire time. They did not release any sort of expanded to support their own format that they created. And now expanded is pretty much dead. And they haven't. It's like, they just have neglected it even further. They're like, no mentions of expanded in any context. So I think like expanded is more of like they're trying to just let it fade off into the sunset. And just kind of be its own thing where casuals can kind of play on PTCGO or PTCG Live, and just like if they want to play like a format that doesn't rotate, they could just play that, right? And not worry about policing it too much. But, part of it's like, okay, for every product that Pokemon releases, they have to be sure that they are going to sell enough of them, right? Because they don't want their products dying on the shelves. Even if you see like trainers' toolkits, I mean, a great product for competitive players, they don't sell as well.
No, I always see them at my Walmart.
You see, that's the only thing you see at your Walmart, right?
Exactly.
It's the only thing you see
that
because
and those,
nobody
Pikachu
wants them.
V boxes.
Either or like the Mewtwo or Melmetal Mewtwo things. I always see that, like the Trainers Toolkit and Mewtwo Melmetal, right?
The stuff that's the products that the Pokemon Company prints for play, I think are, if you look at them, are probably the worst selling products, right?
And
sure. They know that. They have all that back end information and they see it. So it's got to, I'm sure the game designers are like, let's make some Gym Leader Challenge products, but then like the suits and everybody got to be like, well, listen, if you look at the numbers, it ain't going to work out. It's like, we got to figure out, how do we, so it has to be grassroots. We have to blow the format up. We have to make it successful first to the point where then the Pokemon Company's confident enough to support it.
Right.
So,
I agree. I think Pokemon is doing a pretty good job with kind of pushing the agenda of it, and I think we've done a good job of kind of blowing the format up in the past year that has existed. I think Pokemon, now that they've acknowledged it, have it in regionals and in the rule book, I think it's just a really, really big deal, and I'm definitely excited to see the future of where GLC could go. Is it gonna, be, will they have those events? Will they even host like a regionals for it, or will they print product for it? I'm excited to kind of see what happens with that, because I think GLC has a lot of potential, and I think is one of the better ways to actually play the card game right now if you're just tired of Standard and Expanded.
And yeah, for sure. I think one of the coolest things is that it's becoming so kind of widely known that it's getting less and less hard to find somebody who you can play Gym Leader Challenge with. That at first, that's the biggest gate, barrier for getting into a custom format is like, I need people to play against. It's at the point now where like people at your league probably know what it is. Right.
Yep.
And it may even have a deck. And the more it spreads by word of mouth, the more grassroots, it kind of like it grows, the easier it gets to play it. And that's just going to, help it grow even more.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for this week's podcast episode. We had a lot of great conversations about Standard and, of course, GLC and single prize formats and all the new cards coming out and kind of just like the balance of the TCG over the past few years. So it was just a great discussion. I always love talking about that type of stuff. So it was awesome to have you on, Andrew. Thanks again for being on the podcast today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's really been nice to catch up with you both and to be featured on the cast. So thanks a lot.
Hopefully maybe one day we can have you back on. Maybe next time we have you on sometime in the future, maybe GLC will actually have become so big that there will be product on the shelves for it. And who knows, maybe we'll do like a big tournament for it. So we'll see how the future plays out. But that'll be it for this week's episode of the Shuffle Pod, I think. This episode will be going out the same day Lost Origins comes out. So if you're watching this before Lost Origins is releasing, kind of waiting for it to come out on PCGO, that's awesome, and have fun building decks in Lost Origins and all that good stuff. And we'll catch y'all next week for an episode of the Shuffle Pod. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Peace.
Check out the Late Night Series Season 6, brought to you by myself, Zach Lesage, and the Shuffle Squad. We're going to be running a bunch of sick events for the Pokemon community, and they start on August 30th. So one thing you might be noticing here is that there's an EU time and an NA time. We have one at 12 p.m. Eastern, which works out to about 5 p.m. in London. And then we have one at 7 p.m. Eastern, which should help out a lot of players on the West Coast play in this event. That being said, we still have a lot of cool things going on. Expect similar prizing that we've had for other Late Night Series events. Expect better staffing. Expect better tournament experiences. And of course, we do have a stream going up for this season as well, and I will be streaming the event on Twitch. That being said, we have the whole season up on the Play Limitless website. Late Night 51 all the way through 70 runs until we hit the Invitational on November 5th. So check that out, sign up today, and support Zach Lesage Events and the Shuffle Squad. See you there.